Hi there, this is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where we are talking about success principles, quite honestly. And for today and future days until we're done, we are talking about a book called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. This particular copy I have in my hand was published in 1969. The book originally was published in 1960. And those in the room, you'll see that there's a clickable link in the drop-in next to me, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, with a custom cover made by our very own Ken from the UK. You can get your copy there. PMA, Positive Mental Attitude. Our inner talisman. From the very beginning, we were told that we have this inside of us, that we can decide if we're going to have a positive mental attitude or a negative mental attitude about whatever is happening to us, around us, inside us, or because of us. It doesn't mean that we are positive mental attitude, honest to goodness, isn't the airy-fairy stuff that says, oh, everything's going to be all right. I don't have to do anything right now. No. It's not ignoring the tough stuff that we come up against. No. It is helping us to see things a little bit differently so that we can get through them, and we can get through them as better people. That's my understanding of positive mental attitude. If that changes as we're going through this, of course you will hear me state, oh, well, I was wrong. But I'm not wrong right now. This is what I believe to be true and what's working for me. And everybody who's been joining me in the mornings and joining in the live stream and in the conversation to the side has agreed. So that's what we're going with. Today, what are we talking about? We are talking about, do you dare explore the power of your mind? With the idea being that you're going to be successful. Do you dare? I think it's a pretty good question, quite honestly, because so many people are hung up on the idea that it doesn't feel right. Without understanding that you can change your feelings with your thoughts. Many people are frightened at the idea when we talk about the power of your mind. They consider it to be woo-woo stuff, if you will, and talking about psychic abilities and telekinesis. And yes, some of that can come into play. And here's the interesting thing. It doesn't have to. Those were just concepts and ideas that were thrown out there that say, you know what, some people are able to do this and it works for them. If this doesn't work for you, you know what, there's so many other things you can explore in your mind. There's great power in our thoughts. Great power. There are stories abounding from world wars and minor conflicts. Let's just talk war. When you talk about prisoners of war and how they were able to survive being a prisoner of war in some of the most horrific conditions, they'll tell you it's all what they were thinking. There's great power in the mind. You can talk to people who are locked up in prison and exposed to people and thoughts and energies that they had never thought possible. And they came out better. Yes, I know some of these people. They came out of prison better than when they went in. When you talk to them and listen closely, it's because the way they saw things, the way they saw themselves in the world, and the way they focused their attention on being better. Now, the other thing that we can go to, and Napoleon Hill talks about this in Law of Success, in Think and Grow Rich, in Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, and honest to goodness, and pretty much everything that's associated with him. And it's because it is a stronghold in the toolbox of successful people. And what is it? It's autosuggestion. Yeah, autosuggestion. Self-hypnosis. tell yourself something long enough, you're going to believe it. If you don't believe that, then I want you to take a step back, relax, take a breath, and say, what is it that I believe about myself right now? And is it true? It's just a simple exercise, but pay attention to it and treat it seriously. Is it true? I mean, really. There's still things that I think about that I have to do that with and say, that is just not true. That came from 10 years ago when I experienced something. That's related to a recent experience that suddenly I'm applying to everything, right? Never. We're going to go in that negative mental attitude, right? We're going to pull out the NMA for just a moment. And we're going to say, it never works for me. It always goes wrong. People are picking on me. The universe is picking on me. God doesn't like me right now. I don't know what I did to him, but he just doesn't like me right now. That's negative mental attitude. But it's also something we tell ourselves over and over and over and over and over again. Hence, we're already doing autosuggestion. So the first step is to recognize that you've put yourself into this thinking, and you can get yourself out of that type of thinking. Yes, Matt. Good morning, Matt. So good to see you. Negative mental attitude is poor little me. Yep. That's it. Poor me. Go to the red ring pity party. You know what I mean, red ring party. So anyway, yes. So it's really not that far-fetched. It's the language that's being used at the time. It's the language, in the 1920s. This is the language that they used. And it's the recognition that we can think ourselves into trouble. We can think ourselves out of it. Right? We can think ourselves into success. We can think ourselves out of it. So here comes Ken with a question of, when you say dare, do you think it takes courage to adopt PMA? In other words, it's easier to adopt NMA. No. I think that it takes courage if you have been a practitioner of negative mental attitude. I think it does take courage to adopt a positive mental attitude because you're comfortable where you are. As miserable as you may be, you're comfortable. I non-educated in that area person, but it is something that I've read about and experienced myself. I can be quite comfortable in my misery. I put myself there. And because we're asking you to take a look at how you see yourself and the world, and to consider that you can look at it a different way, it can be scary. And so, yes, I believe that that's where it takes courage. There are many that I've met, honestly, that have a positive mental attitude. They're awesome. They didn't, every once in a while, to them, it's recognizing that they actually can get into a negative mental attitude. They've not experienced the negative mental attitude except just in little bits. On the other hand, it appears that I was born that way, with a tendency to see the world a particular way, not necessarily with a negative mental attitude, but with the seriousness, with a literal sense. And so it takes time to change that type of thinking. And as Betsy said, yes, sometimes thoughts can be dangerous, but you know what? Sometimes they can be gosh darn awesome. It's amazing the things that can happen when people think about it. Put that imagination to work, because that's the other thing we're going to be putting into play this morning, is the imagination. Maybe that's a better word for you. I know words matter, but if you're in a space that you're just like, none of this is making any sense, let's find a word that makes sense for you. And so if that word that makes sense for you right now is use your imagination and think a little differently right now, what if or as if, so be it. My whole goal here is to share with you what I learn as I read through this book, share with you my own experiences, and have others share with you. And let's share with each other, talk to each other, right? Learn from each other about, not quite sure how the heck to do this. Now, in the book, there is a gentleman that's referenced, a gentleman, he's a pharmacist. He is French, basically a French psychotherapist and pharmacist from the 1920s, and he wrote a book, and it will be going into the resources downloads for future review if you want to delve a little deeper into it. Now, I am not French, and I've never been able to really understand a French accent. I can't take it. So I'm not sure how the guy pronounces his name. It's Emile or Emile. Honestly, I don't know. Coue. This was written in 1922, and it's titled Self-Mastery, Autosuggestion. And he's saying that, and this is page 9 of the ebook, autosuggestion is nothing but hypnotism as I see it. And I would define it in these simple words: the influence of the imagination upon the moral and physical being of mankind. The influence is undeniable. You can persuade yourself to do a certain thing, provided this thing is possible, and you'll do it however difficult it may be. You can convince yourself of anything. Trust me. How many people have opened their eyes to the lie they told themselves because somebody said it 30 years ago, right? We told ourselves this 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I'm going to type his name into the chat and have somebody else look at it. And if you've got a good feel or an understanding of the French language and how to pronounce it, feel free. So, autosuggestion. What do we tell ourselves? The power of the mind. Something as simple as, day by day in every way I'm getting richer and richer. What does richer mean to you? Make it true. Day by day in every way I'm getting better and better. Now this is one thing that conscious autosuggestion used by this Emile guy. He focused his attention on helping his patients to overcome health issues and become healthy through autosuggestion. He's a pharmacist, for goodness sakes. Okay, but he discovered natural law, and he used hypnosis to cure the physical illnesses of his patients. But his greatest discovery is that simple natural law, and he abandoned the use of hypnosis. And what he did was, he says, these are the questions he asked himself. This is when great things happen, is when you ask yourself these questions, right? And he says, is it the suggestion of the doctor, or is it the suggestion of the mind of the patient that affects a cure? And he proved conclusively it was the mind of the patient that subconsciously or consciously made the suggestion to which his own mind and body reacted. Without either autosuggestion, unconscious, or conscious autosuggestion, saying it to yourself on purpose, external suggestions aren't effective. Right? And then question number 2 that he posed to himself, if the suggestion of the doctor stimulates internal suggestion of the patient, why can't the patient use healthful, positive suggestions on himself? And why can't he refrain from harmful, negative suggestion? And his answer came pretty quickly. Anyone, even a child, can be taught to develop a positive mental attitude. The method is to repeat positive affirmations, such as, day by day in every way, through the grace of God, I'm getting better and better. That's an example. Now, we also know that it helps to believe what you're saying. Yes, Ken. He's saying, I guess this is linked to the power of placebo. That's it. If I believe this is going to help me, There's a good chance it will. Of course, this isn't the cure for every disease. Please, before anybody decides to throw that in there with negative mental attitude, that this isn't the cure for anything and everything. No, of course it's not. But by gosh, it can make a huge difference. Huge difference. I have personal experiences with health issues that something like this made a difference with me. There was one time, this is 2016, I gotta think now, about 5 years ago, when I was taking 16 pills a day. I don't take any today. And part of it is the way that I approached this type of thinking, combined with other things. And under care of a doctor. Okay, under care of a doctor, I was able to, quick overview, between 2000 and 2011, I was on repeated doses of prednisone and anti-inflammatories, and I was taking medication by IV every 8 weeks. Me, who doesn't like needles, but I did it. Had to drug me so they could give me needles. Anyway, just about bankrupted us, because most of the drugs and what have you that actually worked were experimental, but weren't approved for the condition that I'd been diagnosed with. And then there finally came a time when I was just on maintenance drugs. Woohoo! Yeah, that was exciting. And I was taking 16 pills a day so that I could function reasonably normally throughout the day, and I could be out in the world. Yeah. And I got very, very focused on, I will not be tied to a pill for the rest of my life, and I will not be tied to an IV for the rest of my life. And slowly I was able, again, under the doctor's supervision, because ramifications could have been, consequences could have been severe, and he needed to know, and we worked together. And I was able to get off of the IV at first. That's where it started, and then the pills, and then eventually weaned myself off of the pills, and I've been medication free since 2011. I feel fantastic compared to what I did before. And there was a lot of very focused attention, very focused intention, because I wanted to be medication free. So I looked at foods, and I looked at external environmental things. I looked on the inside. And one of the exercises I did went a little deeper than this self-mastery auto-suggestion. Like, each day, it's day by day, as each day goes by, I'm better and better. I'm healthier and healthier. That's a tip of the iceberg. I literally would lay in bed and imagine my entire body piece by piece. It was a meditation, piece by piece healing itself. And other things that went into play. But again, it was something I put my attention on. I wanted it that badly. And I was able to do it. And so far, I've been able to maintain it. So far. So I know this stuff works. What we tell ourselves works. The power of the thought works. And so we got a couple of comments. Yes, Van. Okay, good to see you. Welcome, Van. Glad you are here. And hi, Cindy. So glad you're here, Cindy. Betsy, so glad you came through with such positive attitude, and you can share that with others. Thank you. One must have a willingness to be open to possibility in a given situation, such as your health issue. That's it. And I think where mine started was that it goes back to the type of thinking that we're talking about here. I didn't get stuck in I got there for a while. Oh my God, this is going to be my life forever. This stinks. I said, there's got to be a better way. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be a better way. And that was the beginning. That's saying that I was open to a different way. And then, Ken, you said another blab condition was, my son has the same conditions. Thanks for sharing and giving me some hope. He has PMA by the bucket. I'm sure it will help him. Yeah. It's not fun by any stretch. So I can share a little bit with you, Ken, maybe through PM on Twitter or DM, direct messaging on Twitter. If you're interested. If not, that's cool. But prayers for your son. So anyway, this is what we're talking. The power of the mind, right? It is the power of the mind. And I always put in the caveat that I didn't do this by myself. And it wasn't pain-free by any stretch. And it wasn't easy. There's other things that I can share that I was able to deploy, something like this auto-suggestion. Tell yourself something long enough, often enough, you're going to believe it. So that's just one story. I welcome anybody into the seat to share how they see how auto-suggestion helps. How it makes a difference. We've talked about affirmations before on here, and it's important that, to me, it's important that I remind us that it really helps if we believe what we're telling ourselves. So I wasn't telling myself during the illness that I am healthy, I am pain-free. I didn't tell myself any of that, to be honest with you. That was not what my thinking was. That was the goal, to maybe one day be healthy and be pain-free. No, what I was telling myself was recognizing this is what's going on and this is what it should look like. That's what I did. That's what worked for me. Oh, yeah. So, all right. So, Betsy, just for you, I'm going in the book on page 51. A little knowledge becomes a dangerous thing. She had said earlier that thoughts can be dangerous, and according to this, and I'll read it to you so you don't, it's not just my paraphrasing. We have just explored some of the unseen forces from known physical causes. Now let's proceed further into the realm of the unknown, the thrilling field of psychic phenomena. And this is where he talks about ESP, telepathy, clairvoyance, psychokinesis, and others. Now let's be realistic and keep our feet firmly on the ground, and let's explore the unknown with common sense. Love this. That's why I love Napoleon Hill and C. Clement Stone. W. Clement Stone. Let's keep our feet on the ground and explore it because it's an unknown. And most of this was taboo, and a lot of it still is, to be honest with you. It still is taboo to many. But essentially, it boils down to this. You are a mind with a body. I love that. No machine or man-made invention is as marvelous as the wonderful machine we already own. Your body, or its electrical marvel, your brain. Man is more than a body with a brain. You are a mind with a body, a mind possessing and also affected by powers known and unknown, a mind composed of two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. So, Ku's or Kue's great discovery was you can use healthful, positive suggestions to help yourself, and you can also refrain from negative, harmful suggestions. Learn to use the proper suggestion in influencing others. Learn to employ the right conscious auto-suggestions. When you do, you can have, I love this, physical, mental, moral health, happiness, and success. So it can work. And we're going to go back to, yes, it can be a little scary. it can be a little scary, especially if you've been in a negative mental attitude for quite a while. Or just the idea that, you're going to take a look at who you are, how you see the world, and see if that benefits you. Because if it's not, it needs to change. And I guess that's why so many of us wait until it's just really bad, don't we? We wait until it really hurts. We just wait too long. And Betsy, ironically, I have 4 people have come into my life recently that have many of the gifts you just mentioned. Yeah. We are spirits in the material world, the police song, and now we all have that in our head. Thank you. We are spirits in the material world. Trust me, I was singing that. I sounded awesome. Just so you know. Advertisers have known about the power of the subconscious for a long time. Those guys don't do woo-woo. Yes, Ken. I've been in direct marketing since the early 1980s. At the time, I studied psychology and abnormal psychology. And it came in handy when I'm part of a rebranding of an international brand. Because we talked not only just colors and shapes. I wasn't a part of the graphics part. Trust me, that's not, no. But what I was a part of was the technical documentation and organizing it and making sure that it was all up to speed and we had enough and the changeover and some of the content that went with it. And it came in handy because we had to deal with people internationally with a new brand name. And how were they going to respond to it? We wanted them to respond in a positive way. Well, and JP, there's enough negativity in the world. I can only afford to be positive. I'm with you on that, buddy. I've had my fill for a while. Thank you very much. My own internal negativity and that which is external. I've had enough. So for those that are wondering, well, that's all well and good. What are you doing today? I only say that because I wonder that. Every time I hear somebody like what I'm just talking about and say, well, boy, isn't that airy-fairy wonderful stuff? That just sounds so great. What are you doing today? So what I'm doing today is I'm moving forward. I have the plan in place. I have my definite chief aim. I know what I'm working towards. My ultimate goal is to be in that RV overlooking the lake, smelling some wood smoke from the campfire the last night or this morning because my husband's thrown some fish on the fire for breakfast, coffee in hand, talking to you. No, talking to you from the RV. So that's my ultimate goal. And while there, doing all the things I love to do, which is all a part of building my business, working one-on-one with coaches and consultants, working with teams of small businesses, doing business research, working as a part of a team on that, heading up a business research project, doing competitive intelligence, gathering data, writing ebooks, sharing the stuff with people like you, hence the hence the encouragement to just go ahead and download the success resources there, get on board. Oh my goodness, what else do I do? My mastermind groups, love doing the mastermind groups. Seats open, by the way. But got mastermind groups. I'm creating workshops. Live workshops are happening now. And just getting ready to sign a contract to create a marketing course for an online university. Yay, that'll be fun. But all the stuff I love to do, and it's all in line with getting me where I want to go, which is to be able to live in that RV. Right now, I'm an independent business owner. I'm not dependent on any location. Everything I've done has been online since 2008. So that's not it. I've got everything set up and have since 2008 to work wherever I need to work. Give me internet access and my laptop. And I did. I've been doing it since 2008. The difference, though, is moving is big, right? It's big. So I've moved, I stopped counting the moves at 27. So I've moved. I know how what it entails to move. So to get the house ready to sell, that's our project this year, so that we can get top dollar, so that we can buy the RV that we want to live in. And I love being on the road. I love being on the road. So there's other things involved. Plus, I want to be able to support us completely, and there's some things that should be done in order for me to feel really good about living on the road. Now, having said that, honest truth, hubby and I were talking about it this weekend. It's one of those things, if something should happen, if it really became absolutely necessary for us to do it now, we would, because we could. But there are some things I'd like to have in place first, and it is truly because I am not one to add ridiculous stress to my life. I am more the cautious type to work my way towards something rather than just jump in and figure it all out later. That is part is part of the reason that all this gray and white we're seeing here is lovely, also known as platinum blonde highlights, just in case. No, I've tried that. Doesn't work for me. So yes, JP taking morning mindset cafe on the road. What would really be fun for me? This would really be cool, is not only to be able to do this like on Blab, there by the campfire, but to have others join us from the area, be it from the local community or other campers or RVers, come around the campfire and join us for the hour. I think that could be pretty cool. Everybody get out your book, or let me lead the discussion and get some live people in here, right? Meaning that somebody comes into the seat, they're sitting right across from me and joining through their device. I don't know. Yeah. Morning Mindset Cafe on the road, absolutely. Tiny houses, I'm going to throw that out there. My husband, is one thing that we were looking at him getting into, because he can build them. And it's just a matter of resources, right? Where do you allocate your resources for the best effective use? And so he hasn't done that yet. And yes, you have beautiful lake region in your area. Hey, listen, that's all I'm asking for. I told my husband, I said, I'm looking for, he likes the ocean, but he's perfectly okay with fresh water. I prefer freshwater lakes with lots of trees. And yes, we can do Morning Mindset Cafe from a lakeside camp. Absolutely, JP. And you'll bring your coffee out with us. Join us. So, that's my stuff. Anybody want to jump in the seat and say, hey? Oh, tell me what's going on with you. What do you think of this auto-suggestion stuff? Do you dare explore the power of your mind? If you've had experiences of how you were able to change things in your life because you purposefully changed your thinking, love to hear that. Encourage the rest of us to keep moving forward. Or you just need a cup of coffee. And we have Betsy. Let's hope her internet access is good. Hello, Cheryl. Welcome. Come on, Betsy.
Oh, no. Look at the bright light. Ah!
There you are.
I thought it was behind me. Oh, my God. Can you even see me? That's terrible. No. I got to close the slider. Oh, my God.
Okay. She's so positive. She's bright. There you go. There you are.
Better.
Much better, Betsy.
Wow.
Good to see you. Good morning.
That's a little better, right?
A lot better, yeah.
Oh, I have to Wow.
A
Whatever.
lot better, yeah. So according to JP, you're so positive, you're bright.
Oh, there you go.
There you
Well, and I wasn't always like this.
go.
So, we all have a story, right?
Yes,
I
we
mean, we
do.
all have a story and we can tell a different one every day. But, I lived in my story for a while, oh my God, and why did this happen to me? And, what am I going to do? And how am I going to survive? And, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I was there. Seems like a lifetime ago, though. Like when I talk about it now and I joke and there's humor with it, but at the
Mm-hmm.
time, it was not humorous. I'm not afraid to be authentic. So I could just tell you that my little story, briefly, just to say, then flash forward. So this was like 20 something years ago. My son's 26, my older son. So I was 7 months pregnant and I was deserted by my husband. Woo! No. But,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but like it was the best that was supposed to happen. I mean, my son was supposed to be in this world. He is supposed to be here. At the time, was it horrible and awful? Yes. Was I a victim? Yes. And now, what I know now, of course I didn't know then, but that, we all have a part in what we create. I attracted that in my life. I mean, I don't want to get into too many details, but, I was at a different place in my mind
Mm-hmm.
at that time in my life, right? So, I'm grateful that I managed to work through that. I surrounded myself with the support I needed, and I started my business in 1994. He was about 3 then, my son. And here I am today. I will say that my biggest fear, like a few years back, was, it's always about the money with me. I have a really poor relationship with money. Like never enough, grew up with like not enough, there wasn't enough. There was never enough. And so that kind of was my belief system, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I've worked my way to, there's enough. I get to go after it. I get to create in my life what I want. I get to really act on my desires, and I can do that. It's not that next person who has all that money, has something so special that I don't have. That's what I'm realizing, and what I've learned is that, everybody has a gift and a talent and something to share. And it's sad when little kids are turned off to art and music and all that stuff. Like, you can't do that. You can't make a living. I don't know. I just feel that people should their gifts should be fostered and nurtured and,
Mm-hmm.
from a young age, ideally. But, like I said, I'm here now, and it's all, because of shifting my attitude. Was it overnight? No. It's sped up in the last couple of years because of what I've been learning and immersing myself in. Thank God, I'm 54 years old. Like, it's about time.
I know. I've said that to myself
So.
numerous times over the years. I was like, right, it's about time, isn't it? Jeez.
I know, like, why does it have to take so long? Can't you do it before you have the kids? I mean, I say to myself, wow, I could have done this before the kids. Maybe they'd, oh my goodness, I don't want to go there this morning.
Yeah.
But
No, because we
the
just
kids,
don't know.
yeah, who knows, right? Life's a crapshoot. But if
Okay.
you don't take the risk, you don't know. You know about my recent risk with business
Mm-hmm.
and laying out money and doing. And for me, I don't know about for you, Charlene, and I think I see this in you, that your excitement gets fueled by other people's enthusiasm about what you're up to.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I shouldn't assume that, but for me, I mean, you shouldn't make assumptions. That's one of those, one of those books I read,
Yeah.
one of the laws, never make assumptions. But that's what works for me right
Mm-hmm.
now, or what is working for me. I did an event yesterday. Did I sell any games? No. Did I make some connections? Yes. And the one thing that was so great was the one connection I made. She was sitting next to me. Well, we had unbeknownst to me, that's just where she landed and I landed. Well, we have a mutual friend from South Florida that I know through business from 1994. And then I went to friend her on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh, you know these people? How do you know them?" Like I know them really well, and that was through my transformational program that I'd gone through, which I've mentioned before, the gratitude training. And I said, did you do that? We had these connections,
Mm-hmm.
and people that were really close to me and close to her, and it was, yeah, that's synchronicity. That's, I
Love it
think,
when that happens.
I know, don't you?
Yes,
I
you
get
showed up and, well, hello.
It was just so, like, I got goosebumps. We're all getting goosebumps. And then it's funny because I've shared that with a couple people and I don't hear I was just, wow, like, this is why I'm here today.
Mm-hmm.
It was so loud and clear to me. It wasn't about selling the games.
Right, and that happens to me where I just realize, because we're aware, I think, is all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is an excellent reason for me to be here. There you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Opportunity sits in front of me. I'm able to see it now.
Right.
I'm also able, honestly, what's interesting to me is if I pay attention, which I do
Yeah.
sometimes to this side, is the things that I'm not seeing anymore.
Mm. Yes.
The things that were so obvious to me over the years, and now it's like, well, I'm not paying attention to them because they're not that important. So what if they're obvious? They're not important. Oh, well, now they're not obvious, right?
Yeah.
We only see what we're focusing on.
Yes.
I see things that are similar to what we're focusing on, I guess, is what I'm saying. It's just, again, it's the
Mm-hmm.
power of the mind. It's the power of our ability to think our way into things and think our way out of things. Of course, it all has to do with action attached to the thinking, but it has to start in the
Right.
thinking first.
Yes.
I
Yes.
have to see, and sometimes I don't even have to believe it. I just have to see it and say, I got this little bit of hope. Let's go. I do know that I don't want to be here. I want to be there. Okay. I am willing to do whatever you tell me needs to be done. I've been there.
And I think believing it sometimes before you see it, well, is also like for me, the money thing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that I will be earning that income that I so rightfully, deserve and have worked hard for and all of that. So I get to really believe that, even though I don't, see it right now, but I get to
It's not in
believe
the
that
checkbook
that's,
at the moment, but it will
yeah,
be.
right. It's not right. Exactly. And that's what I'm working on right now. I've been in business for a very long time, and I guess you could say many years it's been a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also raised my kids, and that's been important to me as my focus. And now I'm at a place where, I really can give more attention to what I'm up to in my business. And that was a choice I
Works
made.
for me.
Yeah.
That's something I notice that trips people up, and it will trip me up every once in a while. Is to remember that it's the choices that we make. That it has nothing to do with whether you agree with how I'm running my business or the kind of business I'm in. And
Mm.
honestly, I appreciate when people tell me that I should be doing this and going in this direction because of what they see in the moment. And that's wonderful. I look at that as a compliment and say, well, thank you. No. So,
Yeah.
there's a reason I'm not going in that direction. It's because this is the direction, not the path so much as this is the direction I've chosen. This is what I've seen is going to get me where I need to go. Now I'll store to the side the extras that you're pointing out just in case something that I'm doing now doesn't work. That happens. All right, I've got this stuff in the back I can pull on now, but I'm not going to change direction. I can't right now.
Mm.
I'm not going to. I choose not to because this is what's working. This is generating revenue and it's growing the business and it's the direction it needs to go. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said that because I always have so many people sharing their ideas for what I can do and what I should do. And sometimes inside I'm thinking, well, don't you think I've thought of all those things already? And I'm one person and I can only do so much. And then I just have to get off of it because it overwhelms me.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. And I'll tell you one way that I've learned to respond to it.
Yeah.
And I can't always, but it is that recognition. Wait a minute. They're excited about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
They want to help.
Mm-hmm.
How can I get them to help me more where it's actually helping? Well, if you're excited, those are fabulous ideas. And I'm only one person. So it's on the list, right? Or something.
Yeah, it's on the list. Yeah, it's on the list for sure.
But I'm so glad you're so excited about this. What I'm doing is I'm trying to gather people who can spread the message.
Yes.
And I'm looking for people who are as excited as you are to spread the message about what it is I'm doing. So if you're up for sharing some links, if you're up for introducing me to some people, something like that. Oh, the conversations I've had out of that one.
Yeah. Well, you don't know till you ask. I mean, how do you know?
But see, that's a way to turn. Here's a principle of social selling. So if we're in the conversation, right, usually that happens to me either on LinkedIn or Facebook. Somebody's, and we've gotten into a video chat and they're getting very excited. And when I've had that conversation and said, I'm so, I think it's awesome you're so excited about this for me and it's wonderful. And I'm looking for people that with that level of excitement. And honestly, those are great ideas. And I may be able to get to them sometime soon. But in the meantime, I'm looking for people like you, And so if you can introduce me to people, if you're that excited about what I do, help, right? Yeah. That's my thinking. Yeah. So what I'm asking them for is, so do you know anybody? I'd love to meet some of the people you're talking about, that sort of thing.
Yes. Yes.
So don't get... The thing is that's the positive mental attitude over the past year or so I've been able to really put to you, not even the past year, but that's a positive mental attitude I recognize. I didn't look at it that way because the negative mental attitude is exactly what you just described, which I will get into as well, which is enough, people.
Yeah. Please, stop. My brain's on overload.
It's not like I didn't think about this, okay?
Yeah.
It's not like it's not on the list. And it's not... Right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right? So maybe, yeah. And again, I'm just saying my own experience is very, very much like yours. And to be able to turn it around and just simply to say, wait a second, we got somebody here who's pretty darn excited about what I'm doing. They want to help. So why not give them a way to help?
Yes.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
I'm realizing now, I'm realizing those times when I did it, the way it turned out was really good, but I never put it in this context that's actually what was happening.
Right.
So thank you for that. I did.
Well, I just had another experience with I guess it would be NMA. I had a contact through email and someone interested in, what I'm up to in terms of wanting to know basically all about, how do I become a doula? And it was such a generic, broad question. And I said to myself, I don't have time for this. I want to support her, but, there's no way I'm going to be on the phone for 2 hours. And so I sent an email back and just, suggested where to explore. And then if she had specific questions. So it wasn't, but I know that it was in a moment of, I'm just so busy, and as much as I'd love to help this person, but I should really be open because it, maybe she'll take my class, and I probably should have, I'm telling myself, answered it differently, maybe asked her more questions or something, and whatever, it was a momentary thing,
Yeah. We all have our moments, don't we?
Yeah.
The human condition. Sure. Just wait 5 minutes, I'll change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I had got that email at a different moment in time or responded.
But she would have been now let's take this all the way out. She would have been your most productive student and brought you all these other students and really.
Darn. Oh, well. Next time. No. Hey.
JP.
What's happening?
Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you.
It is a good morning.
Hi.
Hey there.
How are you?
I really get to work on this.
I'm positive.
Good.
Good. What else is up?
I've got a tiny house just for you.
Oh, for me? You have a tiny house for me?
Well, either one of you. Here we go. Let's see
Okay.
here.
Well, I get to get my husband on board with this, so I'm not there yet. I'm there in my mind.
What do you think?
In my mind, I'm there.
So this one, Charlene.
Oh, the rustic look. Absolutely. Cedar.
Wow.
Is that cedar siding?
Yeah.
I love it. I love that show. You watch that show? It's awesome. I love that show.
Yeah, my husband can build that stuff.
Yeah, mine probably could.
Easily.
But we have to get rid of our stuff first.
Let me just read
all the stuff we don't need.
Let me just read to you. I'll read to you quickly the caption on this. This 196 square foot house near Boise, Idaho, is home to Macy Miller, her partner James, their daughter Hazel, and their Great Dane Denver. Good grief. All right.
Yeah.
27-year-old architect Macy, designed the home from scratch and built it on a 24-foot flat bed with help from friends and family. Clad in siding made from recycled pallet wood, the minimalist home is flooded with light and feels spacious despite its size. Hidden storage under the bed, above the pantry, and behind the fridge are contrasted with open shelving in the kitchen to make the space feel bigger. Get this, Charlene. Macy spent about $11,000 on her tiny house and is now able to live rent and mortgage free.
Yes, it's possible.
See, and you could look at it as that's so small, or you could say that is so compact and so amazing, right? You could just depends how you look at it, right?
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Exactly.
We went away.
We talk up now. I'm switching. I got all kinds of. I got a whole studio right here in my computer.
Wow.
I wish I had that. Look at my lighting. It's horrible. I got to figure this out before Wednesday on my next show.
One of the things I might bring to the broadcast this morning is maybe positive is getting rid of all the clutter in your life.
Yes, sure.
Tiny house, compact living, eliminating distraction, eliminating negativity, telling that Gomer in your head that wants to drag you down to get lost.
I saw
that. The committee.
I saw that in your comments, something about Gomer, but we were talking, so I couldn't reference it. Yeah. Yes, it's making the decision for yourself. Number one, what does success look like? Number two, what is it that I want? Define it. What is it that I am willing to work towards? What is it that that's going to bring meaning to what I'm doing today, right? And you can go as deep as you want. I don't go any deeper than, by gosh, here is the list of things I am going to do today that include revenue generating activity to build my business that is going to move me closer to where I want to be, right? It's as simple as that.
Charlene, it's a form of mental downsizing. It's like, well, there's the epiphany, right? I don't need to live in 3,000 square foot.
Yeah, you just about blinded me with that halogen light bulb moment.
I did? I thought that was Betsy when she first came on. She was about to blind us.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, it is mental. It is removing the mental clutter. It is.
It is.
Getting focused.
I believe that.
Get your attention where it needs to be. Stay there. Of course, it all takes commitment and dedication, self-discipline. Why do you think I do this every weekday morning?
Right.
Yeah, it helps you get started.
That's it. I am committed. And so sometimes before the program, I'm not always on track with everything that I do. Sometimes after the program, I'm not always on track with everything that's on that list, right? But there's this and one or two other things that I'm always doing every weekday morning. And that helps to set you up because consistency works. Commitment shows, commitment to be consistent. And it helps to bring that self-discipline so that other things come into play. So it all works together.
So, Charlene,
Yeah.
you've done
Yes.
maybe you've done the equivalent of put everything that's valuable to you into 5 giant storage tubs, which is a requirement for downsizing in a tiny
JP.
house, and you're just
Sweetie, all
focusing
right.
on.
So here's the deal. In just so you know,
Uh-oh.
in 19 yeah, in
So
ni-
you know.
yeah, in 1995. Yikes. So here's another story for you. In 1995, we owned our first house. We had purchased it in 92, right outside of Indianapolis. And in the neighborhood we were in, outside contractor was brought in to build sanitary sewer system. They installed them backwards. Yes, they did. They installed sanitary
What?
sewer system.
Oh, sanitary sewer system.
Yeah, and they installed them backwards. So instead of flushing everything out, everything flushed in.
No.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
Oh
we
my.
awoke to, I was awakened by my husband's creative language describing
Yeah, sure.
the raw sewage that was throughout our house. Yes.
Oh my God.
And eventually what ended up happening in short order is we pretty much were able to save through a handful of friends that in an emergency we called and they came over. We were able to save some things. But I have to tell you, the house was brought down to stud because the health department, it wasn't just our house, other houses, the health department came through and said, you can't live there. We were homeless for 7 months to rebuild that house.
Yeah.
And had to bring it down to stud. So what we were able to save was big pieces of furniture that could be cleaned and sanitized, right? I lost most of my books, which was an entire library, trust me. That which I didn't lose, I quickly packed up and started a library at a local nursing home. They'd never see, you should have seen, everybody came out of the woodwork. Books, right? So that became my next favorite thing. If you have books to donate, go to a nursing home, go to a retirement, community. They'll read them. They love them. So anyway, so we had our appliances and we had our big furniture that we took to storage and put a couple of friends into storage, and we gave them all the gloves, and we didn't have hazmat stuff, but some of them had coveralls. Just go in with bleach and just, clean this stuff up. And so about a month later, storage was broken into and everything was stolen. So I know I don't have anything important, JP. And my husband, my laptop, which can be replaced at any time and has been, my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, really. What do we really need? What do we need?
And I tell that to people, and before that happened, I was strongly attached to physical things because of all the moves. Everything I had was a remembrance from some place that was important. And so it was important. And then what was a big deal to me was my family history. And so images of the greats, grandparents and great uncles and greats and the stories there. That's what I hung on to because every place I moved was just a structure.
Yeah.
Right.
I lost all that. Gone.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And so the rebuild was the internal stuff. The rebuild was the it's just stuff. It literally is just I still tend to accumulate it, but it's just stuff. I know.
Someone in a previous life.
Okay.
Did you look at the sidebar?
Yeah.
Did you offend someone in a
I have thought that so many times. There's just starting with. Let's see, we got married in 1990. In 1991, we had to go through bankruptcy because the IRS finally caught up with my husband, even though he'd been paying taxes for all those years. And anyway, so everything related to that. So he had to file bankruptcy. In 1992, we bought a house. And let's see, the first 7 years we were married, every anniversary, somebody died. We were at a funeral. I told you all that one. Then in 1995, the house flooded. In 1996, I got cancer. And in 1999, I have no recollection of the schooling I was going through because I went back to school. I was been in school full-time for quite a few years, working full-time, working part-time because we had to rebuild the house. Then I was diagnosed with an illness that took experimental drugs in order to work, which aren't covered by insurance. We had a lot of money at one time. I'm just telling you, we had a lot of money. I had to cash in.
Thank God you had it.
Well, I cashed in about 72 grand of my retirement and my savings because I was supposed to retire and be completely work-free by the age of 45, and I was well on the road to doing that. But when you cash out 72 grand of your retirement, all the money that I'd saved to that point to cover medical bills, cover building the house, cover all the other stuff, thank God it was there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I've thought that, Ken, and that actually isn't all of it, but that's like just part of some of the things we've experienced. Anyway.
Your attitude, though, somebody else could have gone through all that and be sitting in a corner wallowing right now. But look at you.
Oh, no, well, no, wait
you know
a second.
What I'm saying?
No, trust me. I know what it's like to crawl in the middle of the bed and absolutely
I'm sure.
I know.
No, I'm sure.
Where I am today was on purpose to get moving forward out of it. And each time, here's what I learned was that you have to address it each time. So, and I did until the illness hit in 2000. That was the one that started. Everything after that started accumulating on top of. So it was, instead of addressing each instance as it occurred, which is what we did, quite honestly, then it became one right after the other. So I was carrying baggage from one to the next, and that's where the piles came on. Right. So I know both of us understand completely being in the middle of the bed blubbering and just getting through. So don't think that we didn't.
No, of course. But,
okay.
But I'm saying somebody could still be, so that was how many years ago? I don't know, fast forward, right? But there could be somebody with not a positive mental attitude who didn't find that wherewithal, awareness, whatever you want to call it, that didn't wake up and become conscious, that could still be blubbering and wallowing.
Oh, there's plenty. That's what I mean by we talk with people. We work with people in various areas, and that's pretty much how we give it away, if you will. But, and like this morning, that's one of the reasons I show up. Isn't so much to tell you my story, but just knowing the importance of it. I understand the importance of it.
Of coming out of that.
Yeah, I understand no, it's not even that. It's to me. I'm sorry. I know what you're saying. To me, the thought is that even in the most hopeless of situations, there's always hope. And sometimes all it takes is hearing somebody say something. And it's not necessarily the story. It is the silliness. Sometimes it's just a couple of words that suddenly, oh, well, maybe it can. Maybe I can get through today, right? So,
yes.
Then I've been like that since the 80s.
Do children suffer from the negative attitude? That just struck a chord in me. When do we learn to be negative, I guess? At what age? Or is there such a research? I'm sure there's research on that.
There is research, but I don't know.
It seems like children are especially resilient and rebound quick from, bad news or something. But then maybe after a accumulation of too many, then they begin to take on their Gomer, or whatever. I don't know.
Well, I know a little bit about this. I will say that the human brain is wired very early on in terms of the synapses connecting and how, what part of the brain gets developed, very early on. And of course, environment shapes and, experience shapes and all of that. But as humans, we do have the ability to, sort of to rebound, to, make, new connections and all of that. But those first few years of life, patterns are really set in the brain. Research, evidence, the science will show you that. Mm-hmm. But we do have the ability to, repair, regroup. If we didn't bond, we have that ability. But what happens there will shape us for a lifetime. I mean, it's proven in science. Say like, babies that don't get touched and loved, enough, they have a lot of problems later in life. Like, it's just evident. And I have people in my life that are like that, but there's also science.
But I don't think that bodes negatively for everybody either, though. I think that it's recognizing that there are some things that, honestly, this is the way I look at it.
Be honest.
Some things.
Be honest.
I will. I will.
Of course.
Sometimes it is, it's just what it is. All right.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And I laugh at myself and I say, really? Did you just do that? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Did that over the weekend when my husband reminded me that, Charlene, you take things literally. Well, yes, I do. And he says, but you can't when we're talking about this.
I know that look.
Yeah. Really? You know how
didn't connect. Yeah.
No, and it won't. And he laughs at me, and he just looks at me, and he says, "All right, Data is in the room, or Spock is in the room."
Yeah.
Well, so
well,
today I can laugh about it, and for years I've been able to laugh about it. But as a kid, trust me, you're the weird one. You're the strange one.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
It's learning how. It's part of growing up. You learn how to laugh at yourself, right? And just say,
yes.
And again, that's just not. I don't know how to change it, and really don't want to. It's not worth the trouble, quite honestly, because that's who I am, and that's how I approach things. So.
It's okay, Charlene.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll still show up. We'll still show up for your morning mindset cafes. Don't worry. Yeah, it'd be fine.
Thank you, JP.
You're welcome.
But that's the key, to embrace ourselves with all our quirks. I've been told that I'm quirky, and I didn't know whether to take that as a compliment at one point.
Listen, I got elevated. I got promoted to odd, so I was.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I went from weird to odd. It's like, I'd love to be quirky. That's I aspire to be quirky.
Well,
what does that mean?
There's usefulness, Charlene. There's usefulness to approaching every aspect of life as though you were an engineer. There is usefulness, including emotions.
Well, you and I know that. You and I know that to be in its full glory. We understand that. I mean, my gosh, how can you not go through life and not see things through the eyes of a physicist?
Exactly.
Well, now metaphysics is very interesting to me.
She's trying.
That I'd like to study.
We can go into that. Quantum physics is absolutely fascinating. We got into it. All right. No, sorry.
Yeah.
Morning mindset.
That's okay.
Because I got into a fascinating conversation about quantum physics and quantum mechanics not too long ago. Thank you, Ken. You're not odd, dear. You're interesting. Thank you. Those are my words.
Yes, of course.
And and he says it lovingly, and he says, but he also says, one of the reasons I married you is because you just make me laugh. And I just look at him, I said, but I'm not funny. He says, oh yeah, you are. He says,
you just don't know it.
Okay, here we go. But he does. That's what he says.
I was a very serious child.
Oh my!
And now I am so not. I was so serious. I was very intense. I was always crying.
I thought you might be.
I was really. Yeah, I was totally a serious kid.
I was very much.
And I let go of that. I finally let go of that.
I can still get intense.
Yeah, me too.
But it's I know, it's a shock, isn't it? I know, you're blown away.
Okay, so Betsy, the big mystery. Everybody here wants to know, what is in the boxes? What's in the boxes?
Oh, I've talked about that so many times. I'm sorry. I didn't even think about it. I'm trying to get a different angle and figure out this camera lighting. My husband hasn't helped me yet. All right. Anyway, those are all my games for sale. My board games. Okay.
Board games.
All right.
Yeah, I created a board game that's catching on. And, but I have a lot of boxes of board games.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
he has a physical product to sell.
physical product to sell, and it was easier to just bring them to the house. Cheapest way to go. So that's what I did.
All right, everybody, let's wrap this up for the recording.
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's do that. I can keep the room open for a while. At the top of the hour, I have a team meeting. So let's just say I think we have proven that we all dared to explore the power of our minds.
I think so.
I think so. And for those that are hesitant to even consider that you might be thinking to the detriment of your success, relax. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. It's not as bad as you think that it might be. It's scary because it's new thinking, and it challenges who you are right now. But it's up to you. I'm not here to change you. I'm not here to tell you right or wrong. And whatever it is that you're doing, just don't hurt other people and don't break any laws, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. And if I don't like you, who cares? I'm not that important. There's other people here, and they'll like you.
Can I do your ending? Can I do your closeout?
Can you? I don't know. Can you? You think you can? All right, hold on. Let me. The first part is that this is Charlene Burke.
That's my part. I'm going to do it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hold on. Let me thank everybody who's been in the live stream.
I was going to do that too.
Well, okay. JP, you are on.
Well, thanks everybody for joining this morning with Charlene Burke with Morning Mindset Cafe. Thanks for everybody on the side chat who made their comments. They were very positive. And thank you everybody who was sitting in the squares in the seats this morning. And this is Charlene Burke. It's Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. What else?
Let's move on.
Move forward
on purpose.
Move on to the day with purpose and meaning.
On purpose.
On purpose. Because you know. Because you're growing because you know.
Something like that, Charlene.
One more time.
One more time. Take two. Go ahead.
Let's move forward with the day on purpose with purpose.
Oh, gosh.
To grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.
I love